Hey everybody, this is John coming to you from our Saginaw campus of Life Church. Thank you so much for carving out just a few minutes on this Sunday morning to spend with us as we reflect back, do a 2017 rewind together. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. I know I drank too much eggnog, and it was frustrating as a parent to see my kids receive an awesome present. They put the toy to the side and they play with the box. But I hope you were able to make a lot of Christmas memories and that you're turning your attention now to what God has in store in 2018. I love this time of year because we get to set New Year's resolutions. We get to dream about what could be and what should be in our lives. But it's always good to first slow down, pause, and reflect on God's goodness over the past year. I've been spending a lot of time in the Old Testament, tracking along with the story of Moses. Moses was an awesome guy. He spent the first 40 years of his life being adopted into the royal family. Then he murdered someone and was cast out. He was a wanted man, and he spent 40 years in the wilderness. And then finally, God showed up in a burning bush. And he said, listen, I am the God of second chances. You may have messed up in the first half of your life, Moses, but the best is yet to come. And so Moses was 80 years old when God invited him into a fresh new journey to go and rescue and redeem the people of God from Egypt. And so I just love this story of adventure, of taking great big steps of faith and obediently trusting in the living God of the universe. And do you know what I've discovered reading through the story of Moses? Many, many times in the book of Exodus and Leviticus, God says to Moses, remember. Our God is a God who reminds us to pause, slow down, and remember all the ways that he has shown up. And so I think about 2017 and this church that I love, Life Church, and I remember all that God has done here. We've seen nearly 150 people trust Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior in 2017. That's amazing. We saw over 50 people go public with their faith through baptism. And we saw over 100 people partner with our church, becoming lifers. Man, that just blows me away because I can't take credit for that. You can't take credit for that. Only God gets the glory for what he has done in our 4-year-old church. When I remember 2017, I think of some of the fun memories we made together. The Easter egg helicopter drop. We invited people for a free party. We saw 6,000 people come together. That was awesome. I loved that. When I remember 2017, I think about August and September when our church was able to bless the socks off of area foster families. We loved on kids with free haircuts. We gave them back to school supplies. We even gave free back rubs to foster parents. It was amazing seeing radio DJs and the probate court judges here, mixing it up with lifers and people in the community. I just love it when our church gets to be the church and love on people with no strings attached. But I also think of some of the world-class speakers that we were blessed to sit under in 2017. Back in April 2017, we had Bob Goff here at Life Church. He's not only a New York Times bestselling author, but man, he's just an awesome guy. I think we were all just laughing our socks off one minute and then tearing up the next as Bob shared real life adventures. What does it look like when we're fully devoted to living out the gospel? In fact, as I was thinking about and remembering when Bob was here, I was particularly reminded of this moment when Bob shared from his heart, what does it look like to love people the way that Jesus loved people? Watch this.
And people that you don't know, gay, straight, Buddhist, Baptist, whoever they are, find them. I was in Fort Collins speaking at a thing, and they said, would you talk at the Civic Center? I said, what if we fill it up with people who don't go to church? And they said, I got there early. I saw the t-shirts. I'm like, they got the right people. And we had just such a beautiful evening together. And when it was all done, they said, now it's time for question and answer. And I'm like, no, because you never know who's going to ask something. Sure enough, this big religious guy grabs a microphone. He said, I want to know if you'd marry two gay people. I'm like, of course not. I'm already married. But I said, nobody's asked me yet, but this is exactly what I do. I just read scripture and say, what's the most loving thing I'm allowed to do? That's what I do. I don't know until somebody asks me, but I'll tell you exactly what I'll do. What if that's our go-to? Just find out, not the most loving thing you can think of, because I can think all kinds of stuff. What am I allowed to do? And that's what I'll do. What if you just make your faith just simpler that way? In Mogadishu, they won't teach little girls how to read or write. Do you know why? They're girls. And there's nothing that scares a terrorist more than a girl with a book. And so we started this school. We've got all these little girls. We've got guys with machine guns guarding their hearts. And this whole idea to find beautiful things. And our neighbors are everywhere. And we see them for who they're turning into. I met Sweet Maria. It was probably 35 years ago. She walked in the room. Remember, guys, when you see the girl of your dreams, you're like, yes, you will be mine. And she's been in the room for like 5 minutes, and I'm picking out names for our kids. We're going to make them, and we're going to name them. So she wouldn't go out on a date with me for 3 years. Can I show you what I look like on the day I met Sweet Maria? Check it out. It's like a happy Freddy Krueger, like, hi, can I eat you? But fortunately, she looked through all that hair and acne, and she saw who I was turning into. And here's the deal. We're turning into love. Some of us a little faster than others. But what if you find people who creep you out? The person with this, come up with the least creepy section. Be more generous in the way. They're just a person that God made just different than you. And just because he's working on different stuff in their life than he's working on in your life, doesn't make you right and them wrong. Just love them. But here's the deal. Truth is truth. You don't need to burn down other people's opinions. It doesn't make you right. It makes you an arsonist. Just love people. There's a quiet confidence that comes with just knowing things that Jesus says, and see who he's turning you into. I'm the consul general for the Republic of Uganda. Isn't that awesome? I'm not Uganda's diplomat to the U.S. I'm the Uganda's diplomat here. I'm not the U.S. guy there. So I walk into embassies and they're like, where's the Ugandan guy? I'm like, I'm the Ugandan guy. And if you come to my house in San Diego, the flag of Uganda flies over my house. Isn't that awesome? It looks like Germany got together with a peacock, but that's it. And you know what? My house looks like every single house on the block, but it's not. Because where the consul general lives and the flag of Uganda flies, it's Uganda. Isn't that crazy? I'm the diplomatic mission of a foreign government to the United States. If you guys ever really screw up and need to seek asylum, see on Scott Street. Literally. The WikiLeaks guy's probably having breakfast right now. Let that absorb you. So,
man, I just love Bob Goff. In fact, later in 2018, I think in April, he has a new book releasing. And so I don't know about you, but I'm going to jump onto Amazon and reserve Bob Goff's new book coming out in April. Man, I just think of some of the journeys we went through together this past year, and I'm so thankful that God has allowed me to connect with new friends at Life Church. I mean, it's so easy to walk in with butterflies in the stomach and not know anybody, but man, how cool is it that no matter where we live in the Great Lakes Bay region or whatever our past, that here at this church, God is weaving our lives together. We're making new friends, like lifelong friends. I think of Christian and Allison Arndt, who took a huge step of faith, left everything behind in Texas to join us as our next generation pastor. And it's been cool to get to know him and Allison and to start to do life together. I think of Tim and Sheena Nugent. Man, they're awesome. And it's sad that our loss is Georgia's gain, but we're still friends. In fact, I've already been talking to Tim. We're thinking about having him come back up in February to lead worship for a couple Sundays. But I'm just excited to follow their adventures as they continue to follow God's calling. Even though we're far apart, friendship continues on. I think of friends like Perry Noble, who was here at Life Church in September. Man, that was an amazing Sunday. We had 900 people here worshiping Jesus, sitting at the feet of one of the premier Bible teachers in our country. And one of the things that Perry talked about that really struck a chord in my heart was when Perry shared about his journey of becoming more compassionate. It's so easy to say, yes, I love Jesus, I'll follow Jesus. But when Jesus says to love your enemies, I was just floored when Perry shared about the difference between showing compassion and being a critic.
That God started doing in that season, and he's continued to do in me, is just kind of begin to lean in with compassion. Because here's the thing that I've understood. If we as church leaders are angry, it's not because of what they're doing, it's because something is broken inside of us. Hey, there's some church leaders in this room. You've been through some stuff. First of all, you're a church leader. You've had some rocks thrown at you. You've had people talk bad about you. You've had people attack you on social media. You've had people try to drag you down. You say, Perry, how do you deal with that? Well, you're still here, aren't you? Do you know how you deal with that? You get up the next day and you keep on going. You get up the next day and you keep on going. I've had people, recently, what was the last one I heard? When I got fired from my church, that they gave, this was the rumor that I heard, that they gave me $6.2 million. By the way, that's not true, but I wish it was. And you hear stuff like that, and you just kind of, because let me tell you, if you create a place of grace in your church, if you create an atmosphere where it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way, you're going to take shots. But you gotta ask yourself this question. Do I want to take shots from the people who crucified Jesus, the Pharisees? Or do I want to take shots from the people that don't know Jesus? Because I'll take shots from the people that crucified Jesus all day long if I can reach the people that don't know Jesus.
Lots of great teachings, lots of great memories from 2017. But now we want to focus on what's ahead. A new year, a fresh start. We have 12 months that are unwritten. And our challenge as Christ followers is to continue to grow in our walk with Christ, to continue to serve the Carpenter King, and to continue to love and bless people far from God. So as I've been reflecting on the story and journey of Moses, I just wanted to share one little Bible nugget from the book of Numbers. It's found in Numbers chapter 13. It's in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Testament of the Bible. In Numbers 13, Moses has brought the people of God to Israel. They see the finish line, the promised land. After a long journey in the desert, milk and honey is within their grasp. And so Moses gathers together some spies. I like this because I like ninjas. And he sends these spies out to kind of check things out, to see what's ahead. They come back to report what they've discovered. And it says in Numbers chapter 13, verse 26, they reported to them and to the whole assembly of God's people and showed them the fruit of the land. So before they even give the report of what they've discovered, what's ahead, the first thing that the people of God know is the best is yet to come. There is something awesome on the precipice. They are at the very edge of a fresh new adventure, a clean start. And here is what comes down the pike. Some of the spies who looked into the future in verse 28 reported that the people who lived in the promised land are very powerful. The cities were fortified and were very large. So the spies were like hobbits, and they encountered giants in Israel. And so they said, we feel like grasshoppers in their eyes, these giant orcs. There are challenges ahead. And Moses, we think we should stay put. It would be much easier if we just set up camp and live here. But then we meet a guy named Caleb in verse 30. Caleb silenced the people. Silence! And before Moses, Caleb said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. Man, that's raw faith. That's a passion for the promises of God. Even in the face of opposition, even when the critics are saying, stop, don't go any further, stay complacent, stay comfortable, we all need a Caleb who will stand up, be bold, and say, let's go forward. There's more land to possess. There are more lives to touch. He says, take possession of the land. Well, then the critics say in verse 31, we can't. The people in the land are stronger than us. But Caleb says, our God is bigger than any of them. And if God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:28. If God is for us, what do we have to fear? We stand on the edge of a fresh new year. It's a fresh new page that's being written in the Story of Life Church. And you and I are invited to step out into faith, to take possession of the land here in Saginaw and in Midland and in the Great Lakes Bay region, and to do whatever it takes to reach more people far from God. And you know what? God is for us, not against us. God is bringing to us leaders, more Calebs, that will say, follow me as I follow Christ. When we come back together next Sunday on January 7th at Saginaw campus, we have the privilege of welcoming to the stage our friend Joe Guerra. He's a Michigan worship artist, and for January, February, he's stepping into the role of our interim worship director at Saginaw campus. So our worship will not miss a beat. We still are going to be worshiping our guts out, having fun together, pointing people to Jesus, and we're so thankful that Joe Guerra will be with us in Saginaw. In Midland, I'm very excited because we are bringing onto our staff team a brand new position, Midland Campus Director. Brian Massey and his wife Marissa, their 3-year-old son Edric, and then another son on the way, are joining our staff team in 2018. They'll be championing everything that happens at Midland Campus. Brian is a gifted worship leader. And then he'll also be helping to strengthen and to champion our assimilation process. What does it look like to walk in as a first-time guest and to eventually grow into a sold-out, fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ? Well, we have a process and a strategy, and Brian is going to take the lead, not just with Midland Campus, but with helping people take their next steps toward God. And so I can't wait for you to get to hang out with Brian next Sunday, January 7th at Midland Campus. You're going to fall in love with the Massey family, and their family's growing in February. They've got a little one on the way, so you can already be praying for them. Guys, 2017 was awesome. It was a banner year, and we should be thanking God that we get to be a part of this. But let's not rest on our laurels. Let's, with anticipation, be praying big prayers, expecting God to do big things in 2018. because there is more work to be done. There's more people to reach with the gospel. And in Christ, the best is yet to come. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you again next Sunday as we kick off our fresh new series, We Are That Church. Let's do it. Let's be bold. And let's see you all together next Sunday.